Boom, you're live.
Hey guys, how's everyone?
Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Good.
Here we are for another week of Fireside Chat with Matthew.
Geez, they go quick.
How's your week been?
Me, busy, exciting, interesting, informative, all kinds of things. Feeling the changes that are going on energetically at the moment. It's pretty full on for a lot of people. So apparently we're going through a whole series of retrograde, and I don't know, I'm not an astrologer by any means, but astrologers will know what I mean. And anyone that hears the word retrograde normally runs away in fear. So
yeah, because everything that goes wrong gets blamed on poor old Mercury in retrograde, doesn't it?
Yeah. But apparently we've got a few months of it, so of different planets being in retrograde. So here's Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. Hey, Michelle.
Here we are.
G'day, Danielle.
Hi. Yay. My sister's an astrologer, and I was talking to her today, and I'm thinking that, it would have been she actually doesn't do it for, she's learned it and does it for herself. But something she was talking about, and you're hijacking the Fireside Chat conversation completely, but she was saying that energetically you feel drawn to places. And I was saying how here on Coochie, I feel like I'm really aligned and the energy's really good here. And she's saying, if you put a map of where your astrology chart is on the world, you'll see where your energy spots are, and yours would be with the tribes in.
Yeah. Oh, we got Donna has actually given a bit of clarity. So Pluto, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn are all in retrograde currently. So hallelujah for that.
and seriously, Donna, I don't know what that means, but that might be a good thing. I'm not quite sure. So tonight, Matthew's got a stellar lineup. He's given me a little sneak peek of what he's talking about tonight, and I'm excited about learning more about what's happening, and he will share more with you. But before I go, just let you know that the Fireside Chat tonight is actually live on the Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys page. Now, if you are on any other page, you might be on the Women in Business Amplified, you might be on My Time TV, you might be on Be Live in 5, watching from there. If you would like to come over to Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys, you can have a chat with Matthew live in real time, not in real life, but in real time over on that page. And Donna has summed it up very succinctly. I love it. That's gold. So
the shit is hitting the fan, astrologically speaking.
So please do come over to Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys. If you come over here and you make a comment, you will be automatically registered for a reading, for a spirit guide reading, which is drawn next week when Matthew is live. He's going to announce the winner from last week in just a moment. If you make a comment, if you're on mytimetv.live and you make a comment there, you will also be registered. So we've got what's called the chat bot. So we've hooked up a chat bot. If you don't want to register to be in the draw, you don't need to do anything and nothing will happen. If you would like to be registered, all you need to do is type Y when you get a message in your inbox saying exactly that. Then you'll go on to be registered, and we will. Matthew will announce the winner from this week at next week's Fireside Chat. The only other thing I want to say before I go is please do remember to let as many people as possible know that this is happening, because it is amazing information that Matthew gives us. He'll give you a little reminder a little bit later in his conversation, but please do bring your friends and families along. Let's just have a party over here and share the information, share the love and the knowledge. and hello to Carolyn as well. So I think that's it. Have I forgotten anything?
Okay. Don't think so.
All right.
If you need to call me, Adair's going to put my phone number up.
Yes, I'll do that. Yes.
If you want to have a chat over the phone,
Yeah.
not tonight, but tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll also put up a link. I'll put a link in the comments for the Monday night meditation group, because Matthew does not next Monday because he's actually having a well-earned break, but every Monday from the following Monday, it's a meditation. I'll put a link in there. You can join the group and that growing, very fast-growing community. So
cool.
On that note, I'm out.
See ya. Thanks, Adair. Hey, guys. Great to see all these names up and seeing the little Facebook photos beside. Look, tonight, what we're going to talk about is empaths and what it is to be an empath, and some of the situations that occur being an empath, particularly an empath out of control, which is in our early days. That's generally the case because no one tells us that we're an empath and what that means. Yeah, first, before I do that, the winner from last week for a free reading is Holly Broadhead. So Holly's from New Zealand, and Kelly, I reckon you might. So I've got, hi Kelly, because I know you are over in New Zealand. You may know Holly, but if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to let her know anyway. And so first of all, we're going to start off with a meditation, just a quick one. So our quick grounding exercise that everyone would certainly benefit from doing it a couple of times a day to help keep your energy stable for all those empaths, because that's one of the things, if you're not managing your energy well, your base chakra generally gets knocked. And so some sort of grounding exercise works extremely well for empaths. So, so Kelly said, yep. I don't know what the yep is for, but so whether it's about the meditation or whether it's about Holly, but anyway, that's okay. So what we're going to do is we'll do that now, and then I was going to just tell you about a few workshops that are coming up, and then we'll get into the talk. So away we go. So we're just going to start off with some nice deep breathing. So with that breath, close your eyes and just do your best to get yourself into a still place, but the breathing actually helps with that because it's bringing your focus off what's going around and around in your head, and that focus is actually what helps you to find that stillness. So with your breathing, really feel the energy of the breath in and the breath out. And with that breath in, remember that what this is doing, it's helping you to access life force. It's not just about oxygen. We need life force to survive. A lot of people don't realize that one. And so what you're doing with this is accessing life force in a healthy way. And we'll talk about the unhealthy ways through the talk tonight. So just imagine with the next deep breath in, with that life force you're pulling in, take in a big full breath of that life force. Then with the breath out, even blow it out through the mouth, but imagine driving that life force you're breathing in down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and down into the earth. And just keep doing that for generally half a dozen breaths. We'll do it. Once you've done it a few times, generally you can get it in 1 or 2 breaths. But it's just about letting that energy flow down through into the earth through your base chakra. Okay. So with that connection now, That's not as deep as we can go. We're going to go right down to the deepest chakra point we have, which is right down at the core of the earth. That's how far our energy system extends. So with the next breath in, again, taking a nice deep one in, knowing you're pulling in life force, with the breath out, drive that energy right down to the core of the earth. And don't worry about distance. That's a head thing. Energy moves instantly. It's only the head that gets in the way of this stuff. And so with each breath, just focus on that cycle of breathing where you're breathing in life force, you're driving it down through into that earth chakra, and then you breathe in again, and you just keep getting that stronger and fuller until you feel that connection with the earth at that deep point, knowing that you're actually connecting also with the earth's core chakra. You naturally integrate with that chakra when you open your earth chakra, which is also connecting you to all of the native cultures, the spiritual cultures, heart-connected spiritual cultures on the planet. And anyone of a spiritual nature that is walking their talk, that is really living what they believe in. Beautiful. Okay. So just for a couple of breaths, holding that space. This is a really powerful place to be connected to. And so now what we're going to do is move into an area in our energy called our core star energy, which is basically the God force or the energy of the Creator, the God, whatever you want to call that, Great Spirit, Buddha. Everyone has their own belief system on that. As you tap into or feel the energy within the center of your body, the center of your being, imagine diving your awareness into that center, going beyond three-dimensional reality, knowing that you're far more than just physical, and your energy system extends hugely inside you. Anyone that knows the series, The Doctor, Doctor Who and the TARDIS, we're just like the TARDIS. So it's just a small phone box on the outside, but inside it's a completely different dimensional space. It's incredibly expansive. As you dive to the core of that space, you will feel or see a light or a high vibrational energy source. As you access that, feel it or see it, just imagine expanding that out. As you expand it out, just through intention, you don't have to force it. To start with, just bring it up from deep within your core to connect with every aspect of your physical body. Every cell, every muscle, every organ, everything. Knowing that each cell in your body is beginning to vibrate at a high frequency while you're doing this. And so from that point, I want you to start building that up even more so, but keep just for a minute or so, keep it contained within the physical. Don't let it expand out anymore. We want to build it up a little bit, and then we're going to explode it out. So keep breathing in, or however you're doing that, just drawing in on that light from within. Treat it like you're blowing up a balloon with air, and that light is under pressure, just like the air in a balloon. Fantastic. Okay. Next breath in, anchoring right into that light. With the breath out, just let it expand right out limitlessly. There are no limits to our energy system. Again, it's only the mind that puts limitations on that. All right. So then now, without pulling that light in, because you don't need to do that. You don't need to pull that light in, protect it, or put it over under a cloak or anything. All of that old New Age sort of visualization, forget that one. That can stay expanded out, because this helps to keep your vibration raised above fear, above anxiety, keeps your energy stable and strong. So now just bringing your awareness gently back to your physical body and the human part of you. Just to finish, I'd like you to reground your energy just through the base chakra is enough. Just get that earth connection again. Beautiful. And there we are. So with that exercise, I have talked about that exercise a lot, but that is great for helping empaths. But we'll get into that a little bit in a few minutes. Hi, Juliet. I just got your message. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Now, what have I got coming up? So I have, on the 6th and 7th of June, I've got a level 1 shamanism workshop over on York Peninsula. And on July 18th and 19th, I've got a level 1 here in Birdwood in the Adelaide Hills. So I'm just going to rattle these off. I haven't got flyers or anything posted yet, but I'll be doing that over the next few days. This is just to let you know what is coming up. So I've got a level 2 shamanism workshop coming up on the 27th and 28th of June. And look, for anyone that has done level 1 or level 2, if you wanted to repeat that, I'm happy for you to do it at half price. Because I update things too. So a lot of the same information is in there, but I add more into those workshops because things change, because we're growing and there's more happening energetically around us. Now, I've got a healing that myself and a lady called Monica, we're doing a day workshop on Sunday, the 5th of July. Again, this is for people that are here in the Adelaide region, unfortunately, for those. But I will be getting back over to New Zealand, Kelly, so as soon as allowed. And so that's on the 5th of July. That's going to be about how things to help a healer in looking after themselves better. Because a lot of healers tend to forget stuff and sometimes don't know as much as they could in ways that they can help themselves. I've got a drum workshop, so a drum making workshop coming up on Sunday the 12th of July with 2 different size drums. And again, if you want to find out information about that, you can give me a call, but the flyers will be coming out soon. Now, this is the only online course at the moment that I've got coming up. And I have talked about this in previous shows. Now, this is going to be an 8-week course on a Tuesday night starting the 9th of June, and 2.5 hours each night. And it's about the chakra system and the auric bodies. And what I'll be doing each night will be discussing and doing a meditation around one chakra and the corresponding energy body for that chakra. Now, what comes of that, which we've discovered through doing the course, is that week after you've done that meditation and that evening, it's like the universe just presents all of these situations and opportunities to actually grow around that chakra. You end up getting confronted with quite a few things, and it's just perfect. It's like your whole world is a classroom after that evening, and so then we come back the next week and we do the next chakra, and so it's quite a powerful one. So any information you'd like on those, happy for you to call me, but like I said, I'll be bringing information up on Facebook for those. Okay, nothing else to talk about, I don't think. Hi, Lily. And Michelle says, the levels are a game changer. Thanks, Michelle. Michelle's over in Western Australia. And all right, so let's get on with this. So empaths. And when I was thinking about this today and yesterday, I thought, you know, I look back at where I was at, well, you know, the first half of my life, because I'm 61 now, and my change came at 30, 29, 30. And that's when I started to open up spiritually. Before that, I didn't know anything about spirituality other than religions, which I didn't really gravitate to anyway. So this all came in a hit and a bang for me 30 years ago. But what I discovered, I just thought I was maybe a little crazy back then in the first 30 years of my life. Sometimes I still think that, but no, not in a bad way. But what I found was I had to tuck myself away from people to keep sane. I had to keep myself, and I pretty much set my life up quite well, because the work I did was, I was a furniture maker back then, and I was very busy I had my own business. And what happened was, as you get busy, you obviously spend a lot of time in a workshop, and that basically was my cave to keep me away from people. But I still had to connect with people because I had to deal with clients, and which was sometimes a difficult thing, because communication was a difficulty, but I didn't 100% know why communication was a difficulty, because no one had ever talked to me. And this is generally the case with most sensitive people growing up that are empaths. And you can pretty much say that anyone that's sensitive is an empath to some degree. And so when there's no one telling you that you're an empath, and that this basically explains, you know, why you feel the way you do, then you do tend to think you're a bit nutty, or you just, there's something wrong with you, because you hear how other people deal with life, and they seem to get through it okay. And but there's also other things that come into play too. So generally, most empaths have a lot of insecurities to begin with. A lot of empaths tend to be a target for abusive people, for manipulative people, and because you're sensitive and you tend not to fight back, and you don't tend to have strong confrontational qualities, you tend to pull back from situations, but that can make you a target very easily when you're growing up. So I think I'm sure that most of you that are listening to this will have gone through something like that through your life. Now, the big thing that I learned, which was a complete, as Michelle put it just before, a complete game changer, was to understand what was really going on. But for the first 30 years of my life, that was a complete mystery. So, and look, one thing I was going to say too, which kind of adds into this, is when I was bringing you back from that meditation, depending on what star sign you are, and I don't get into the star sign thing too much, but there are definitely different aspects to different star signs. So I'm Taurian, which means I'm pretty grounded anyway, but it doesn't mean I was always grounded. But when I feel confident about who I am, which is, pretty much been the last 30 years, then I feel it's easy for me to ground my energy. So when I come out of that meditation, that short meditation, I can come back really quickly and really easily. Whereas some people who are maybe water signs or air signs, they can have a bit of difficulty coming back too quick. So I have to remember that, and to help, those that, because to assume that everyone's like you is actually a mistake, which can lead you into a lot of trouble when you're trying to help people. So it's a really great thing for you to get to know what your star sign is, because that can actually help you to understand sometimes why you're not grounded, and that maybe you need to put a little bit more effort into grounding because you're just not naturally a grounded person. But the biggest trick, or the biggest game changer, is when you start to see what is actually keeping you ungrounded, what's keeping you in that mode of being an empath, but out of control empath. When I think of an empath out of control, I think of someone running down the street, waving their arms, running away from everything and everyone. And so one of the things that definitely has a huge effect, like I said before, is when you're young, and depending on the way you're treated, and look, one of the big things that goes on for many of us is, I actually heard someone else talk about this a little while ago, and I use this as to help people to understand this situation too, that last century, where our parents come from, they lived a majority of their life in last century. It was a very, very hard century. It was basically wars, battles from the beginning of the century to the end. And of course, there still is in the Middle East. There's still stuff going on over there, but there were major conflicts. The First World War, Second World War, Crimean War. There was conflicts through the second through Vietnam, Korea, the Middle East, you name it. It pretty much fills up most of that time, even down to the time of the missile crisis in Cuba, when Russians and the Americans were threatening nuclear war with each other, and everyone was on a knife edge. So that was creating a lot of fear within the people that came from that time. Kids probably not so much, but they were still getting a reflection of that through their parents. But what happened for us coming out of that time was they didn't know how to deal with us. So here we are, very sensitive kids coming up. I'm not doing a poor me here. This is just to understand what was really going on and how it was a bit difficult for us and what we need to be doing to actually shift that. So when you think of who we are, we're a combination of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So, when we're young, we're taught to look after our physical body. We're taught to wash it, to clean it, to look after our teeth, to, you know, wear clothes and all of that kind of basic stuff. But who teaches us back then? It's very rare to have a parent teach their child how to meditate and how to be grounded and how to deal with manipulators. Because generally, because most families from last century were very shut down emotionally, we were trying to break out of that, but we were getting sucked into the vortex of that disconnection a lot in our upbringing. So there was this constant struggle between the disconnection of our parents. Not all, I'm generalizing here, but the majority of parents from that time were disconnected emotionally. And the part within us that was very sensitive and they wanted to say the truth about situations and wanted to be open and honest. And we were getting shut down all the time because, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that, you know, you'll hurt someone's feelings. And so little bit by little bit, what was happening for us is we started to learn that we have to lie to people. We cannot say the truth. So in that, when you're taught to lie, the other thing that goes along with that is you're taught to suppress. So you're taught to suppress emotions, taught to suppress feelings, thoughts, and really you learn that the only thing you can do is tuck yourself away. And so in doing that, you very much minimize who you are. If you start off doing that from childhood, it's not going to break away as soon as you get into adulthood. You generally carry that through. And so it's important to remember that we are habitual creatures and that we carry on with this quite a lot. And there are even times when you're growing spiritually and you don't realize how much you still suppress things at times, particularly in relationships. You know, relationships are our most powerful learning curve. You know, the days of shamans living in caves or on the top of a mountain are pretty much done. If we're going to grow, if we're going to help humanity to grow, we have to mix it with everyone. And we have to learn how to hold ourselves strong. So the biggest thing that happens for us, and I know I've talked about this before, but it's just putting it into context, that in that suppression that we do when we're growing up, a lot of the things that happen to us become suppressed. So energy becomes suppressed. And this is the basis of the work I do. So when a child is growing up and there's things that happen, it can be anything from something that's said on of a negative nature to you repetitively, through to physical, mental, emotional, spiritual abuse. Anything on that level, a child can't deal with that. So what happens is there's a protective mechanism that kicks in for a child so that they don't feel that all the time, which it just impacts a child heavily, because that's the main way a child learns, is through feeling. Yeah, it's one of those things that if we're holding on to that stuff, then that has a huge effect on us. Now, the other part of this equation is what we also hold on to is the energy of other people. So anyone that's projecting fear or anxiety or of a manipulative nature, we can hang on to that, and that stays stuck within us right throughout our whole life until we actually deal with it, until we come back into balance. So that's something to think about. I mean, I know a few of the people that are listening tonight have been clients, and so we've certainly done some of this work, and it has a huge impact. And bit by bit, as you release this energy, your energy becomes freer, more open, and your abilities get stronger, and you become more grounded naturally. So it's something to remember, just how you can turn this whole thing of being an empath out of control. You can turn it around. Now, Adair's reminding me about little things, and she's put up, please remember to make sure your loved ones know about this. And yeah, so if you know of anyone that is an empath and that is having trouble with their empathic abilities, that they just going to talk about how we soak up other people's energy after this. So because a lot of people are basically debilitated by the fact that they're taking on other people's energy all the time. But yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. I just thought we'd have, how far are we into tonight? Oh yeah, we're about halfway. So what I might do is just go through a few, because we're halfway, just go through a few people's statements. Hi Viv, good to see you there. Kylie Beer, I hear you. Recommunication on you, Kylie. And Crystal agrees. Yep. Kelly's saying, always been told you're too sensitive right from a child. And that's one, just one statement from one person. And I'll wager that pretty much just about all of you have had that said to you at some point, because sensitive kids feel really deeply. And so when you feel something, you want to share that with your mother because you think, or your father, because you think that's a safe thing to do. But when you get yelled at for it, because they don't want these people's feelings hurt, then yeah, you just don't know what to do. You just start to get lost in the whole mess of the lies that create our life. G'day, Danny. Long time no hear. See, and so Kelly's a Libran air. So look, like I said, I'm not an astrologist, but you know, I tell you what is good is to get an astrological reading with someone that's very grounded. And it's amazing how it tells you a lot about yourself, and also can tell you where timing of your power coming in, where things went wrong for you. You need to know where things went wrong for you, and then to be able to see how to turn that around. So Donna's saying rising sign and moon sign are also important. I'm an Aries sun, but really feel much more like my Taurus rising. We need to have an astrologer online at some point, and someone doing a talk on astrology. Lily's Gemini sun, Sagittarius moon, Aries rising. I had my astrological chart done ages ago, but I can't remember it. Yep, some of our parents are definitely manipulators. And Adair's saying, I think Adair's talking about the astrology side of it. She'd like to understand more. And Dorothy Rose is agreeing. So why do we take on other people's energy? It's an interesting one. I learnt right in the beginning, this was one of the things that I needed to get to the bottom of for myself, because I knew that I took on a lot of people's energy. And the one thing that happens, we can be like a magnet. That's generally why we take on other people's energy. So let's look at it from a positive sense first. So if you're a really grounded person, if you feel really strong about who you are, you feel stable, everything's going just swimmingly in your life, then you won't be taking on other people's energy because there's nothing for them to anchor into. And that's the secret. What people are doing is, if you have insecurities within you, then you can be walking down the middle of Rundle Mall and pass by people you do not even know. What can happen is if they have insecurities, and if they're maybe used to projecting those insecurities around, then, and you've got those same insecurities, then you can be like a magnet and take that energy on. It can be as simple as that. But what also happens is, if you, and this is where we get into energy games, if you attract to you, say, of victims, poor me's, into your life, so those people that act like a victim or act like a poor me, then what happens is, generally that happens because you're actually happy to give out a lot, and then you magnetically attract people that take a lot, and so this has a huge impact. But how to actually turn that around is to understand why. It's asking the right questions. Someone said to me once, it was one of my guides actually, know to ask the right questions. Don't just look at the surface. So for you to turn this around, you need to understand why you have those insecurities in you in the first place. Because generally if you're running a little computer program in you that's is kind of directing you to give out your energy to a lot of people, generally that's because there's an inner child in there that never had the love and acknowledgement that you needed as a child. And so what you're doing is playing out through your life, you're playing out giving to people until you get that love and acknowledgement back, which of course doesn't normally happen. And so this just keeps going round and round in circles until you actually deal with it. Now, why does this all begin in the first place? Where does it all come from? And the source of all of this is the fact that we need life force to survive. This is the bottom line. How this equates is to what we're talking about is the way we work, we function. We need to eat to survive. We need to breathe to survive. We need to drink water to survive. And obviously we need shelter and clothes and all of that. But we also need life force. And this is what is missed a lot when people are looking at, how to stay healthy, how to be healthy. So why is it that some people are manipulators and some people seem to be on the receiving end of that? It's because in our programming, in our childhood, if you were brought up in a beautiful home where you're told that meditation is great for you and you're taught to meditate from a young age, that's helping you to get energy, good, natural, clean energy from the universe and from the earth. And there are many things you can be doing to help that. Going for walks in the forest. Nature just gives out without any expectation. Nature always has done, but at the moment in particular, as this frequency raises around us, it's just giving out more and more. And but the problem is, we're not taught when we're growing up to get life force in a clean way. We're surrounded by people that get life force in an unhealthy way. Now, this is really the secret to what's going on the planet, why people are in conflict all the time, because really what they're doing, the only way they can get life force is to manipulate someone, because that's the only other place. If you're not getting it from the earth and you're not getting it from the universe, there's only one other place to get it from, and that's from other people. So when you can separate yourself from that equation and you're gaining life force in a much more pure and healthy way, then you take yourself out of that mode of game playing, and also you take yourself out of that need to connect with game players. Because if you've done that, you must have done some personal work on yourself. the more personal work you do on relieving yourself of that pressure of old energy, old emotional baggage, of other people's energy, that cleans your whole system up. It, what if you could see an aura, what happens in an energy field or in the aura is wherever there is imbalance, the energy becomes stagnant. It just becomes toxic. It's like water, if it's left for too long, it becomes toxic. Well, our energy system is the same. If it stops flowing, and that's what the life force is all about, or our aura is all about, is movement of energy. There needs to be flow of energy. So wherever there is stagnant energy, the colors in the aura begin to darken. They get grey, fuzzy, like a dirty red color. They're generally a dirty red. It's not bright and crisp and fluorescent. When it's great seeing people in meditation, pardon me, it's great seeing people in meditation when they're grounding their energy and they're pulling in life force, because their auras expand. Literally you're taking in that life force. It's actually bringing in more fluorescence into the aura, brighter colors. Those grey, shadowy colors in the aura tend to get almost overpowered. They're still there, but they tend to get overpowered by this clean, fresh energy that's coming in. But they will still be there until we deal with them. And so the more we deal with them, the less cloudy energy we have. And of course, the cleaner we become. And again, like I said before, our awareness levels go up with that. We become far more in tune, and our life evolves. We naturally begin to attract great people, great situations. It's an energetic thing. Like attracts like. But while we're in that old mode, we don't grow that fast. If we're not taking in life force on a regular basis, we get caught up in this energy game stuff. And this is very non-productive. It's just like a whole lot of kids really fighting in a schoolyard. So how are we going for time? So what we might do is, I'm going to actually open it up to you guys. I'm just going to go back and have a look at if there's any questions here. I'm going to open up to you. If you've got a question now about something I've talked about, please send it in now if you can.
I have a question.
Hello, Adair. A voice from the depths. Yeah, sure.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in? Hello, this is Adair. She's on line 1. She has a question for you.
Oh my God, that was scary. Go ahead.
So when you get rid of the energy, or you move the energy that's attached, that you bring with you, that other people's negative energies, what I've found is that your life improves, and you actually attract a whole different caliber of people. One of the things that I found, particularly in the beginning, was there was some pain in letting go of the old stuff. Is there anything you'd like to share about that? I'm bugging out now.
With what Adair said, her question about the fact that it's hard to let go, quite often the biggest struggle for people in the beginning of spiritual growth, particularly when you start getting to this point where you're looking at the energy game stuff and the negative people you find in your life. Bring it back to energy. I always bring back to vibration. So here's you vibrationally. So this is the up and down scale of your vibration. So here's you. Now, here's the majority of other people around you are somewhere in that vicinity. Now, as you grow spiritually, you start to raise your frequency. Now, other people will find difficulty in that, quite often, because they want you back here, because they're used to you being back there. And a lot of the time, what's going on with that is you could be an energy source for them, you know, the energy vampire thing. And so without knowing what's going on. And so sometimes you have to completely let go of that person. Whoops, wrong hand. So sometimes you have to let go of that person. And one of the biggest difficulties for people in spiritual growth is that letting go, because you start to see friends disappear, or what you perceive to be friends, but they can get angry with you when you start growing, and quite often those reactions you're getting from those people is because they're used to feeding off your energy. Now, the other thing is, to do with that same question, why there can be difficulty in moving on, like letting go of that old pain, is because we're habitual creatures. We get used to being in a certain way. And this is the human stuff that you can't get away from. And so what we need to do to be able to shift that is to bring new habits in that support a new way of living. Now, this is, again, a difficult thing, because as we get older, you know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, sort of thing. It doesn't have to be that way, and it's not impossible for us to change. It just takes a bit of effort. Unfortunately, having come from the peak of the new age system in Adelaide, there's a lot of I won't say misinformation, but lack of information about the fullness of how to grow spiritually. And there's, you know, the concepts of, if I just get the right crystal, or I buy the right book and it's got the right information in, that's going to help me to grow. Unfortunately, that's not enough. That's just like putting a Band-Aid on. I'm not saying crystals don't help. They do. But it's not helping the core issue. What it can do is help to stabilize your energy a little bit. But again, it's still a Band-Aid. It's not actually going to help you at a foundational level. The only way to, and of course, there's also the other ways that particularly younger people tend to think that they're going to grow spiritually, is to be doing the plant medicine thing, which I don't have anything against. It's just the way it's taught in the Western culture to be using plant medicine. And when I'm talking about plant medicine, I mean things like South American ayahuasca, North America with peyote, DMT, which are all plant medicines. And there's even frog medicine in South America. But the thing is, it's taken out of context with Western culture, and they think it's sort of sold as something that's going to give you instantaneous, you know, higher consciousness, and you're going to find ascension through this. And it's, sorry, but it's a load of twat, because all it's doing is actually, it can actually do the opposite. It can actually, because you have to face, at some point, you have to face your demons. And if you do it under the influence of some plant medicines, it can actually be too much for you. I've heard of people that have been on drugs because they're using drugs as a way of running away from their issues. And then someone tells them that by doing ayahuasca, that they're going to be able to let go of drugs and ascend and all of this kind of stuff. And it doesn't work. It depends on the person, and it depends on the person running the actual ceremony. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are just in it for the money. And, you know, if it was me and I was going to do a peyote ceremony, I wouldn't go anywhere other than South Dakota, which is where I've been many times with the Lakota people on Rosebud in South Dakota. And I would want to be doing that with someone who knows what they're doing. So That's just my personal point of view, but I know that if you're willing to actually make the effort, I can take you through a ceremony internally without needing ayahuasca, because I can help you to let go of those emotions and to clean your life up. And you don't have to go through that whole process of, and it can be a gut-wrenching, physical gut-wrenching process that people go through. And it can actually, I have heard of some people even ending up in psychiatric units because of that, because it messes with their head. So it's something that you have to treat very, very seriously and very carefully. Sometimes there's no quick fix. There isn't, you know, a lot of people, unfortunately, in our Western culture, there's this throwaway mentality and the quick fix mentality that's here. First of all, I found that in the furniture industry. Furniture became cheaper and cheaper, but obviously the quality was never there in the end. But it's kind of in life now. And so it's important to remember that the quick fix isn't the answer. We have to do it real. We have to do it the best possible way, which is to dive in and face your demons and face the truth. This is the most freeing experience that you can have, because I don't only just do this. I've had it done to me over the years, where you free your energy up, you clean up your act by actually releasing that energy and making peace with your past. And this is how we can change. You know, this is how we grow. So let's just have a bit of a look at any questions come up after all of that. Awesome. Oh, hi, Holly. You're here. Yep, a reading coming your way. And there, I should. Donna, this is why I feel like I've achieved nothing despite all the work I've done. Can be difficult. It's about timing sometimes. So Trish is saying, I'd like to know more about the process you referred to. So which process is that, Trish? If you can just give me a little bit of insight into that. We are kind of coming close to the end, but I'm happy to run it a little bit longer if anyone's got any more questions. And this is a vibration. Yeah, Adair's put, true, as we raise our vibration, we attract a better quality person. And that's incredibly powerful part of what we do. With growth, every bit of growth, every bit of clearing you do energetically, every bit of release that you do, what happens is each step of that raises your frequency. And as you raise your frequency, you begin to shed the need to be around people that are of a negative nature. And so you naturally start to attract people that are on your same vibration, pardon me, or a higher vibration. And that's pretty much the basis of any sort of growth. Is if you want to grow, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, hang around people of that same nature that are either at the same level as you or higher. Because if you keep hanging around your old friends that don't want to grow, and that are kind of trying to keep you pulled down somehow, then you're not going to grow, because it is literally going to keep messing with your head and pulling your vibration down. Whereas when you free yourself of certain people and certain situations, and this is not just about, you know, I've talked about this quite a few weeks ago, you know, spiritual growth isn't just about letting go of emotions. It's about eating better. It's about thinking better, you know, not judging people, not judging yourself, being kinder to yourself, being more nurturing to yourself and others. It's not just about others. You know, empaths also seem to have a bad habit of being there for everyone else, but not themselves. And So, it's really important to manage your energy well on all levels. And this is who we are. We're a package of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So, when I'm mentoring with anyone, we always look at those four aspects, and that's part of growth, is to be doing things on a positive level for all four. And what that does, that supports your growth on all levels. So I've got Kim Hayden here, and she's saying, my energy, my responsibility. Yep, very true. But not everyone thinks that way, Kim, unfortunately. Western culture tends to put responsibility into everything else except themselves. Exactly. Life is a lot better when we learn to be responsible for our own energy and no longer taking on other people's energy. Most definitely. The unfortunate part is when you don't know what you're actually doing with that. Education is a huge thing with this. It's the lack of education that kind of gets us into trouble in the beginning. Not understanding the fact that we're empathic, not understanding our sensitivity. But look, what's happening more and more is, as people open up spiritually, and got to remember, this is a time, and I've been told this from several different sources, from my ET friends through to my guides, that no other time on the planet's history, in humanity's history, has there been this much spiritual growth going on en masse throughout the world. This is not just about religion, but I'm talking about people opening up in a clean way spiritually. I've met so many people, from different cultures, not just native cultures, but from the Jewish culture, from Russian culture to English to African. It's amazing. That there is so much growth going on, and we've got the ability, as we grow, to help our children and their children, to support them, because everything's speeding up, time's speeding up, spiritual growth is speeding up, and our children, their children, need support in this, and this is something that is really going to help change the consciousness of humanity. And it's all part of the plan. We're in this cycle of energy that is about change, and there is literally energetic change going on all around us on a daily basis. We're raising in frequency, and it's very, very powerful. And look, just a few more connections with people. So, hey, Holly. Wow, yes, definitely feel that statement of empaths not looking after themselves. It's only through lack of education. That's all it is. I feel I'm at that point of making the decision to look after myself better. Cool. Well, it's a good time for a reading. It can only have a positive impact, surely, in the spiritual step I'm wanting to take. Well done. So more growth in the last 6M than the last 10,000 years. Not too sure what the M stands for, Donna. 6 months, I think that must be. This is what, Kim Hayden, this is what we have been working towards, mass spiritual awakening, most definitely. Dorothy Rose, thank you so much, Matthew. I really got a lot from your talk tonight. My pleasure, Dorothy. That's what I'm here for, as best I can. Look, I'd like to thank everyone that's been a part of tonight, and would really, if you would like to talk, if you want to come and see me about anything, my phone number's been blurting across the screen there underneath my face there. And thanks, Donna, months. I figured that must be what you meant. And I'm happy to help out in any way. That's what I do. I do this full time, have done for about 10 years now. I've been working in the spiritual field for 31 years now, and counting. And I'm not going to be stopping. So I'll be going right through to the end, I would say. And so happy to help out. And like I said, I've got a whole lot of workshops that will be coming up next week. They'll be posted next week. So look forward to talking more to you guys next Thursday. And if you want to slip into the meditation on Monday, there will be information coming up on that on my Facebook site, which is Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys. Thanks, guys. Great to share with you, and look forward to doing it again. See ya. Have a great week.